Good day, friends. This is Robert West. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. The topic of this video is, did Donald Trump lie about Iran? Before we start, just want to thank all the new viewers to the channel. Really appreciate that. If it's your first time, welcome. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. It's free of charge, helps the channel grow a little bit. Be happy to have you each time we run the video. Also, feel free to like, comment, share, hit the bell icon notification so you know when the video is coming out ahead of time. All right, let's get back into this. Did Donald Trump lie about Iran? The next question that should be on your mind is, lie about what? And my response is, lie about everything. 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 Let's walk it back a few days and let's take a look. Okay. So back in March of 2025, during a congressional hearing, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, testified under oath to a congressional committee that based on the assessment of the intelligence community. Now, what does that mean? First, intelligence community is multiple intelligence agencies that provide information. She's kind of like the coordinator of all the information. So usually we're talking about the CIA, FBI, Defense Intelligence Agency, the National Security Agency, and other agencies that I can't think of at the moment, but there's more. And collectively, they came to the conclusion that Iran was not pursuing a nuclear weapon at that time. At that time. The Ayatollah in Iran had not authorized a new program. And that was her assessment. Fast forward to June 2025. Donald Trump, on multiple occasions, in front of reporters, indicated that he believed Iran was seeking a nuclear weapon, and that was not acceptable to the United States. That position has been the same for the United States for many years. Okay? That's not a changed position. However, he was, I don't want to say confronted, but he was told by multiple reporters that the intelligence community said the opposite. And then he said, well, who said that? He said, oh, it's Tulsi Gabbard, your DNI, Director of National. He said, well, she's wrong. So what new evidence did Trump have, intelligence evidence that he have, that they were seeking a nuclear weapon? They hadn't been enriching uranium, which is the material needed to make the bomb, up to 60%, which is way more than for normal civilian use. True. Usually, I think 4 to 5 is the most you need for civilian use for nuclear reactors and that stuff to provide power to an area. But they've been doing this for a while. Back up a little bit. 2015, an agreement was negotiated between the Obama administration and Iran. They could enrich up to, I believe it was 4%, but they had to be inspected, regiments, all that good stuff. It was working fine. For a couple of years, they didn't enrich anything. 2018, Donald Trump just decides to rip up the agreement, and all of a sudden Iran starts enriching uranium. Why did Donald Trump rip up the agreement? Because Israel didn't like the agreement. And understand that Israel has been wanting to attack Iran for many years. Iran has threatened them. You know, they have demonstrations, which are put on demonstrations, death to Israel, death to America. Okay. But those were staged. I don't believe they were organic demonstrations. In Iran, nothing happens organically. So they were provided by the government to keep their people in check. Anyway, so Donald Trump, when he gets into office, his position is, remember, he came in January of 2025, that you can't have a nuclear weapon, but you can enrich. He changed that position a couple months later to you can't enrich at all. And then there was negotiations. There's 5 rounds of them. Iran wants a nuclear program because they already have, from my understanding, nuclear reactors. They need uranium to supply it. And they want to do their own enrichment. I don't know what the negotiations exactly were. I don't think we offered to provide them with the material, so they didn't have to enrich it. I doubt we did, because we have a lot of stupid people who are negotiating upon the United States. At the top, the dumbest, DJT. Anyway, so somehow the Israelis provide Trump with some new information. I say in quotes, new information. And all of a sudden, he's like, well, you know, you might be either, you know, we got a 60-day window. If that doesn't happen, you know, bad things are going to happen. And of course, on like day 66, 2 days before a meeting that for the 6th round of talks was supposed to happen in Amman, Jordan, the Israelis attacked the Iranians, attacked their facilities, attacked multiple things in the country, and there went that. Then the talks really never got going again. And then over the last weekend, Trump ordered bombers along with support aircraft to attack 3 specific nuclear facilities to produce this stuff and store this stuff in Iran. And within like an hour or 2 after the mission, Trump was on TV with his vice president, his secretary of state, secretary of defense, saying we obliterated it. We obliterated it. Now, after a mission like this, understand these facilities are buried underground. Okay? This is why B-2 bombers had to be used to drop these special bombs. They call them bunker busters, to get under the ground to do the damage. So Trump was claiming victory and lying. No matter what, he was lying, claiming the bombs obliterated everything. Obliterated, okay? The next morning, Secretary of Defense, along with the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Secretary General Kane, said he was still doing the bomb damage assessment. Now, that's what a normal administration would do. They do an assessment. They see what can be done. Okay. Donald Trump was telegraphing these moves over Truth Social over and over and over again because he can't operate like a real adult. He's tweeting or socializing or whatever the hell you call it, like an idiot. And those facilities that we bombed, we saw vehicles through commercial satellites, a lot of them pulling up and then leaving. What do you think they had in those vehicles? Think they had water? No, they moved the enriched uranium. But when you have an idiot in charge that doesn't listen to nobody, that thinks he knows better than everybody, he goes ahead, attacks the country on fake information. He didn't get authorization for the attack from Congress for a reason, because he was going to be asked some questions. And the questions were, what new intelligence do you have that Iran is close to getting a nuclear bomb that can be weaponized and put on a missile? Remember, they're enriching uranium at 60%. For a missile, it's got to be at least 90+%. So they have to do some more work to make it happen. But it's possible that they could do that. But what new information? No, Trump decided we're just going to go anyway. We're not going to get authorization for the Congress. So it was an illegal attack. It was a preemptive illegal attack. He didn't want to go through the Congress, which he's required to do for this type of operation. Just today, they canceled the briefing to Congress. Why? Because they're stonewalling. They don't have the information to show that it was an imminent thing that they had to go right away. Now, again, the question was, what did he lie about? And the answer is everything. This man lied about everything. For all we know, he could just have lied to attack them as a diversion to get people off of what Elon Musk accused them of being in the Jeffrey Epstein files. This is very, very, very sick. This is some sick stuff. The fact that they would attack another country on bullshit, put our military men and women in harm's way, and possibly create all kinds of chaos. I mean, I could go into it, but, they could have, Iran has the ability to close a channelway where 20% of the world's oil goes through. That could shoot up oil, double and triple overnight. All because, for whatever sick reason, he needed to lie to the American public, attacked another country, and caused the entire thing. And what do I say by that? We still have the Obama deal in place. They're still complying with it. This is never an issue. He's the arsonist, and then he wants to be the fireman at the end and put out the fire. That's who this guy is. This guy needs to be removed from office. He needs to be impeached. But we have Republicans in Congress that are ballless. They got no balls. They got no balls. They swear fidelity to this man because he is such a good liar that he was able to get elected twice, being a felon, a sexual abuser, had other types of crimes that looked like he was guilty as hell, and does all kinds of shady stuff. And that's not even talking about the grifting of the money and his personal wealth and his family's personal wealth. And they won't make a move on this guy. Yes, the Democrats tried to impeach him twice. Legitimately, he should have been convicted and removed from office back in his first term, and then he would never be president today. It might not be Kamala Harris. It could have been somebody else on the Republicans. It could have been Nikki Haley. Could have been somebody else, because Nikki Haley came in second, so she might have had a run. She might have won. You never know. But this guy's not stable. Nobody who's stable does the things that this guy does. This is just Iran. We don't even have to get into the tariffs and militarizing the California National Guard and the Marines on the streets of Los Angeles, and restoring the names of several military bases to Confederate generals who were traitors to the United States. This guy needs to be impeached and convicted and removed from office. Not next week, not next month, not next year, today. Republicans won't do it because their party is very broken. They're a broken party. And the Democrats are not in any great shape either. But they're sure as hell of a lot better than this guy. They're sure a hell of a lot better than this guy. You could say what you want. Was it perfect with Biden? No, but Biden had a mess to deal with. We're coming out of COVID. We spent a lot of money to try to help people. A lot of money. But the main reason why Donald Trump keeps winning is because he keeps selling. He's a salesman. He's always selling, sell. Democrats need to learn how to do that. Their ideas are better. Everybody should have health care in this. The richest country on the face of this earth, and not every person who lives here has health care. That's absurd. Republicans, what do they want to do? They want to knock 15 million people off of Medicare, hit up maybe 20 million people and take away their food assistance. That's what and they want to give big tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires. Why? And by the way, they want to increase the national debt by at least 3 trillion more. So we're going to be at like 40 trillion at a minimum. And that may not be correct. It could be another 10, so it could be 50 trillion. That's what these people want to do. Do they represent the people? Not really. In those states that only vote for Republicans, time and time and time again, you are brainwashed, my friends. You're voting against yourself. Tommy Tuberville is not a good senator. He's a moron. He's dumb as F. Dumber than F. He wasn't a good football coach. He's a hell of a lot worse senator. But these people are like little puppets. They fall in place. Kind of sucks. And maybe this country will need to split up into multiple countries. Because unless you people wake up and start getting it, the cruelty, the treatment you give people, deporting people who are criminals is one thing, but then sending them to other places that risk their lives. Deportation is not a punishment. It's a situation. If you're not here legal and you don't have a legal reason to stay, you have to leave the country. But you don't send somebody to a freaking war zone. You don't put them in a goddamn prison. They weren't convicted of any crimes. And people there like this cheering on like dummies. They're cheering that on. But a lot of people who were cheering like dummies found out. Your situation was just like a lot of other people's situation. You thought you were better than our Latin brothers and sisters. Your racist attitudes aren't any better. And some of you, especially that a-hole from Missouri, that Danish guy, that, he missed a little paperwork. No, he didn't miss paperwork. His freaking green card was never renewed properly. So his status had expired for like 8 to 10 years. And you know what? He's still in jail in Louisiana. And if he doesn't get out, I can't be too upset about it. Had he gotten some help because the guy was a moron and his wife's not much brighter, they wouldn't be in this mess. But you know what? The government gave them opportunities. They told them at the interview what you had to do. They sent you a notice in the mail. And what did you do? Oh, we're going to skip that step. Let's just go to citizenship. You didn't even become a permanent resident yet, and you decide you want to go to citizenship. So forgive me. I'm not feeling too bad for this guy. This guy would be bad mouthing everybody else and cheering along Trump and all this stuff. You know what? If you get deported to Denmark, Denmark's not a bad place. I've been to Denmark. Very nice people. A little cold, but very nice people. Very friendly people. So not the worst thing in the world. So I can't feel bad for you because you caused your own situation by being stupid. That's what you did. You were stupid. Now, back to this. If you hire a guy that lies about everything and the people around him lie about everything, this guy is super dangerous. He's lying about war. This is not a game. This is not a video game. He's lying about a war. That war between Israel and Iran, and we're involved. People died. Lots of people died. It was totally unnecessary at this point in time. War should be your last resort, never your early and first resort. And certainly some other country, ally or adversary, should not be goading us into a war on their behalf. And that's what Israel did. He is not only Vladimir Putin's puppet, but he's Benjamin Netanyahu's puppet as well. You know, he's closed the blind eye. They're starving Gazans, starving them. We're not talking about Hamas. Hamas is a horrible group of people that need to be removed from power in Gaza. But you don't starve the population to do that. You just don't. You know, children, elderly, whatever. It's ridiculous. And he just goes along with it because he's not a leader. He's a flawed real estate developer. He's a flawed casino owner. He's a flawed businessman. The only time this man makes money is when he grifts. And when you got a lot of dumb people that think he's so great, and they just tell him he's so great, and the only people he hires are people that are unqualified, this is where we're at. He's got access to the military now. This man should be removed. The 25th Amendment should apply. His cabinet should remove him. But the problem is, they like what he's doing. It doesn't matter what happens to the country because they don't care. For them, it's just opportunity after opportunity to make money. Whether it's Homan or Miller, with their connections and the extra money they're making, these are not government servants. They're not government servants. They may pretend to be government servants. They're not serving the people. They're serving themselves and their families. All right, friends, that's it for this one. I know it was a little bit long, but, somebody's going to start calling these people out. I know there's other channels that probably are a little bit better at it than I am. I haven't been at it. I'm more of an introvert, believe it or not, than an extrovert. But you know what? When you see something like this, it's got to be called out. And not once in a while, but every time it comes out. And I'm doing as much as I can, like everybody else, and just trying to make a living and all that good stuff. So anyway, if you haven't subscribed yet, first of all, if you held on for this long, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You guys are fantastic. If you haven't subscribed yet to the YouTube channel yet, please consider doing so. It would really help me out a lot. Have a good night. Stay safe. Take care of your families. And let's work to have a better America. Thank you.